Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I have my mom again here.
Hi everybody.
Today's video is going to be about tips that we've learned over the years for paranormal investigation. This one is going to be the do's. In a couple days, I'll be uploading the don'ts with my mom again. If you like these kind of videos, please like and subscribe. I'm trying to constantly put out videos on Mondays, for Manic Mondays at least. So if you guys like the video, give it a thumbs up to let me know that you liked it, and we'll go on. So I do have some notes that actually my mom wrote down while I was gone, but things that you want to do while ghost hunting, looking for spirits that we've learned over the years. So prior as well. So these are just some things that we learned. If you guys are interested in like starting a paranormal group, I would go ahead and do that. You really don't need a big amount of equipment. We just go with a simple digital camera and sometimes a tape recorder. One of the first things you guys want to do is try to go with a paranormal team that you've looked into, done some research about. Try and go with them, because they've been, if you're able to, because they've been out about in the field and investigating, and they know what to do and what don't do, and make sure that you listen to them for any tips they give you as well.
It's for your safety more than anything else. There are people to be afraid of out there, and we are some warning, as well as evil spirits as well as good spirits.
So another tip we have is do some research. So like find out about the property of where you're going, research it. Museums, a lot of like in maybe like your county will probably have the records of where you're going to be researching, and we would highly suggest do some research about it.
Museums are a good way to get information too, and libraries are as well. In our hometown, we have one that's on the internet, and it's chock full of good things to research on, as well as genealogy, that type of thing, and more.
Yep. Another thing is get history of the house and or land. You especially don't want to walk up on a property that you have no clue of where you're going. And another tip we'll get to, I think that it's listed as well, is to actually, if you can, definitely get permission. Don't just go on a property, because you could be trespassing and then actually get in a lot more trouble.
And if it's out in the woods, and people, if they've had problems with prowlers and trespassers, you may get shot. And you don't want to do that. Nothing's worth your life.
Yep. And then, of course, talk with the town historian, eyewitnesses, and as well as past owners. They should at least know a lot more as well.
If they've had any encounters on the property as well, or in the house itself.
You want to definitely check the birth, death records, wedding records for siblings, parents, just to get a little more info about the house.
Because they'll give you an idea of what spirit may be lingering there, and if you find out their names, that type of thing, it'll make a good communication basis, and you can get to the bottom of the haunting and hopefully help the good spirits move on and wipe out things that are evil, such as your demons, shadow creatures, and even more evil entities out there than we really realize right now in the paranormal field. It's just, main thing is be safe and know what you're getting into before you go for a survey of the property to investigate. Check it out, make a dry run, take your equipment if you bring anything with you for your EMS and different things, to know what you're going into before you go on a night trip.
Yeah, definitely go during the daytime, because you don't want, there could be some kind of board or something laying down that you could potentially get hurt and not know about.
Floors could be rotten.
Yep. Don't just go into an old building because it looks interesting. You could fall through the floor. I mean, you have no clue what this building is. Sorry if you guys hear some crying. It's our dogs outside of the door. They want to come in here. But yeah, definitely do a run through it during the daytime, because like we said, you don't want to fall through the floor or get hurt, or potentially somebody come and run you off the property when you shouldn't be there.
You may even you've seen Zach and his crew of Ghost Adventures on television. You see them take some tape along, and they can put an X over the places where they want to put their cameras.
Yep.
Now, they're different from us. We don't use the equipment. All we take is just our digital cameras as well as a tape recorder, so that you can do those burst EVP sessions where you ask questions of the spirits, record it, and then play it back immediately to see if you get anybody answering, you get an idea what you might be dealing with.
And I think we talk about that a little more later on. Another tip is don't just go on the legends that you hear of the place, because a lot of old places, they do have legends. Just don't go off of that. You want validity? Validation, yeah. Validity, validation. There's always some kind of validation to it, to the building that you'll be possibly checking out for ghost hunting.
Legends and stories usually built on some kind of truth from in the past. Have you ever seen the game the children play telephone? Whereas that you take and tell somebody something, whisper it in their ear, and then you pass that on down, and over a period of time it's completely changed when you get to the end. But that's the way it is a lot of times in the paranormal field. There are old stories and legends that sometimes may not be any similar to what's going on right now. So just be careful what you're doing with, and check out your best source of defense.
And if you can, also another point is to try to interview the people who lived there, or maybe surrounding neighbors who know about the place. Just kind of get some more background information from them. Of course, we talked about knowing the land and the home before you go. Only use the gifts from God to investigate spirits.
We use our gifts such as we're empaths, sensitives. We can hear things and see things, and there's so many more things. And we're also developing our psychic abilities as to picking up things on each other, our minds, that type of thing. But a lot of spirits will communicate with you telepathically. They will say things to you into your mind. And it's up to you to take it in if it's good, and if it's bad, the spirit may just be wanting to get you upset, get you angry, and the wicked ones feed off of those type things. So be careful.
And if you do have like advanced equipment like EMF detectors, certain digital recorders, infrared cameras, there's also like various meters. They're really good to bring. We just don't use them mainly because we don't have the money to buy all of the equipment, but we've always had just success of using, sorry about him crying, but just using success with our camera and tape recorder. But if you do have that kind of equipment, definitely bring it, because a lot of it works really well. There's different sites you can buy them from, like I know eBay sells a lot of stuff, possibly Amazon, but make sure you do the reviews. You don't want to buy something, put your hard-earned money into something, and it may not turn out to be a good piece of equipment that you can use. Have numerous kinds of equipment that is fully charged, and pack extra batteries. A lot of times when we're doing digital photography, trying to capture the paranormal, our batteries will die out of nowhere. They'll be fully charged, new pair of batteries, and they just all of a sudden die. So definitely bring extra with you and make sure that you come prepared.
Yes, when you do your EVP sessions, you ask questions that are pertinent of the different entities that you may think are there. If you've got your research done properly, you may even be able to get an idea of which ones are currently residing, like possibly the owner who built the house, maybe in the 1800s, or a factory or a nursing home. A lot of people go into hospitals and tuberculosis, and a lot of times over the period of years there are layers and layers of power built up from the soul. It leaves remnants. Say if somebody's murdered, the blood can spill over into the floor, which it will, and it stains, and the woodwork as well as the walls and the ceilings will absorb all of that, and it acts as a loop type thing. It keeps replaying. A lot of times you'll get into the loops, which is your residual hauntings. Then you have your intelligent ones, and that's when you get into your tape recorders, that type of thing, and ask questions. If you get a good answer and the reaction maybe knocks or something you're looking for, as a result to find out if that's really a current haunting versus a loop. Then I'll give you a basis as to what to look for and what to do and what to say at a proper time.
Yep. And definitely be aware of your surroundings. Look out for your teammates. That's very important. If you get like footsteps or, if you are a smoker, don't smoke or vape around where you're taking pictures. Because we've had past experiences where I used to smoke and now I vape. Well, we've had a few pictures that we've had to get rid of because of not knowing the cigarette smoke being in the picture, and it looks like fog, and you can't really distinguish. So if you are going to smoke, I would definitely do it way far away if you can from where you're investigating, or make notes. If you're doing footsteps, make notes of that on your digital recorder. Watch everybody's back, because anything can happen. I mean, we've had bursts of coldness, we've had all kinds of stuff happen to us while we've been paranormal investigating. Like I was talking about, be aware of any smells, foul odors. Don't wear perfumes, because you could get it confused. Sometimes older spirits, maybe older women or older men, would wear cologne back whenever they lived, and we've actually smelled the cologne or smelled the perfume. But if you're wearing it, it's going to get very confusing as to what you're smelling.
They could mask each other, and you can't determine what it is for sure, so you'll have to call us a debunk due to not being able to determine exactly what it is. There are just so many things in the paranormal field. It's hard to go over all of it in just a short amount of time, but we're trying to catch the main topics to build on. And if you have any more questions about whatever we say, just give us a shout out or write on YouTube.
Yeah.
Leave a comment, and we'll try to go ahead and get back to you, either Brittany or myself, or the both of us will get back with you as soon as we can.
And that's why we both wanted to do the video, because we've both been paranormal investigating before, and when we first started out, we didn't know any of this stuff.
No.
And there's tons of more tips that we could cover in a video, but it's very hard to put all of them into a video because there are so many tips that numerous people, different groups will have different tips. Our tips may not be the same as like Ghost Adventures tips or TAPS. When they used to be TAPS, they're tips for paranormal investigation.
But they're coming back. One is on A&E Grant's group. It's a new group he's got with him. And then Jason Halls, which was the other half of the original TAPS group. He and two of his main paranormal investigators are coming back I believe in October.
Yeah.
Which both those teams are excellent teams to follow and get ideas of what's going on, as well as Zach. And there's so many really great groups out there on television that you can watch and get extra ideas and tips as to what's going on out there.
Yeah. And another one is try to at least have one more person. If you can have more, that's awesome. But definitely you don't want to go by yourself. You can have all kinds of things happen to you. Really bad things as well happen to you. Try to have at least one person with gifts. That does help out if you can find somebody like a medium or an empath, somebody who can maybe hear things that are going on. A psychic medium who can actually hear the spirits and the gifts from God. So if you're able to, try and have a medium go with you. It's not necessary, but it is good to have somebody there that is a medium.
They can pick upon things that you may not be picking up, because Brittany and I can both hear things the spirits say and see things, but at times we don't pick up the same exact thing as the other one is doing. It sounds really strange, but it's the truth. Just like a lot of times you'll have video recorders running, and you will not be able to hear some things on video recording when you play it back, but you do hear things in your ear that the spirits sometimes will whisper to you, and sometimes they will try and scare you, and then they will feed off of your fear and things. It just becomes a vicious cycle. And just don't do this for excitement. Like a lot of people say, especially Halloween's coming up.
Yeah, don't. There's certain
fun.
Things you don't want to do that we'll talk about in the next video. I will try to have that video out Wednesday or Thursday, somewhere around there. But I definitely wanted to get one out for Manic Monday for you guys. Mm-hmm. And this was a pretty interesting topic, I thought, to go ahead and talk about. It was actually her idea. So,
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I like to give credit where credit's due. So
I appreciate that.
another thing is have the spirits try to come to your equipment in order to tell the spirit stories, why they are there, how you can possibly help them, and move on to the afterlife. Now, this one's kind of a tricky topic because if you don't know how to cross a spirit, which we don't even know how to cross a spirit, we've not tried that. It's a very touchy situation. You want somebody who's had years and years of experience, and preferably a psychic medium to help cross if you can. Another big one we want to definitely stress on, and we're going to stress on it again in the next video, is do not provoke that spirit.
Right.
Don't do that. That's a very bad idea. You see a lot of, Ghost Adventures, for instance, Zach, he does provoke spirits, but he's had a lot of experiences and he's a lot knowledgeable for that. You don't want to go provoking a spirit. It's very, very bad.
And you never command a spirit such as thing. For example, show yourself. I command you to show yourself to me. You're in for a heck of a bunch of trouble on your hands because you're going to get into demonic entities that can end up seriously killing you. And that's a very bad thing. I don't want to see anybody getting hurt.
Well, you can do EVP burst sessions, and what we mean by that is you do a short session, like maybe ask it if there's any spirits around, how old are you, what happened to you, and give that a few seconds in between each question to ask the question, because their time, what I've heard, is very different from ours. And they may not be, so they feed off your energy. So if you've ever, and myself, I felt drained many times, they feed off your energy to be able to communicate. So you do short burst sessions, a couple questions, and then play it back and listen to it is a really good way to do things. You'll see a lot of Ghost Adventures and Ghost Cruise, paranormal investigation groups. You'll see them do that in a lot of the shows. One we have is, never antagonize or challenge the spirits, especially wicked ones, because you don't know what kind of spirits are around. You don't know if you've got good or bad spirits there, and that could lead to them actually attaching to you. Never show, fear, anger, anything like that, because they will feed off of that to be able to manifest for you.
I've heard some people speak of demons. Sometimes they will go ahead and force other spirits to stay when they pass away, and then they will use and command them to do really bad things to scare you. And when you do get scared, be angered, it can destroy your marriages, just the whole gamut. Then, you've got to be very careful.
Yep.
And they use that fear and things that they create, and the demon feeds off of that. And the more he feeds and stays there, the stronger he gets. And the stronger he gets and the longer he stays, the harder it is to get him out of the house, if you can even keep them out.
Yep. Never get in over your head. So if you feel like it's not a good place to go, just listen to your gut instinct. You definitely don't want to get over your head. I know there's been a few times we've actually gotten in over our heads. We had to back out of the situation. Spirits don't, be aware of your surroundings. They can throw things, they can move things, they can knock, they can turn things on and off, as simple as like a child's toy if there's one around, or they can move it. Don't get in over your head on a place that you're going to.
It is extremely dangerous when they start throwing things. Sometimes it's a poltergeist. And a poltergeist can be created by a human being without their even knowledge. And another form is that a poltergeist can be created by the house itself, out of all the emotions that have occurred, and bad things, and maybe a murder or just anything, divorces, fighting, all that leaves bad things which are absorbed into the house and into the land. And eventually it can build up a poltergeist that functions on itself, and a house can actually come alive on its own. Spirits can hide within the walls of a house. There's just so much out there that can happen to you. Just be very, very careful is the thing.
Definitely carry some religious items on you for protection. A lot of times she wears Saint Benedict. We have it on some of our cameras, like the metal We have it attached to our camera, the little ring holder. Definitely you can do crucifixes, holy water, salt. You can bring those things to help protect you. It may not all the way protect you, but it will help. You don't want any attachments. If you feel drained, which I've been completely drained before, the minute you sit down, you're asleep. And that's not really normal for me. No. That's why you want to go in groups, especially. You don't want to be behind the wheel if a spirit has drained you of all your energy. You will get it back, but you'll need a long period of sleep in order to get it back.
It will come back. Mm-hmm. But that's the ultimate thing that a demon wants to do is to drain your energy level. Mm-hmm. And the energy level has to do with your soul. And eventually they want to steal that soul and kill you and occupy your body in return. They want to be alive again and use you back. I'm sorry, that's our two dogs barking. They may hear something.
I guess they heard something at the door.
I apologize for them.
We've got 2 more points to make, and we've got to go check on them. So say a prayer before you go in or on the property. That's definitely a really good thing to do. Say, you cannot have my body, or, just pray to God that for protection of going into the place. You want to pray to Saint Michael,
right?
The archangel. You want to make sure you pray before you go into a place so something doesn't attach to you.
Right. You can join hands in a circle and bow your heads and pray to God and ask for His angels to guide you and protect you and be by your side. And then what we like to do is we also spray holy water over our bodies, which is a good deterrent to keep any kind of attachments. All these things are not a definite positive guarantee, but it's in your arsenal that you could use, and it's out there, and you've got to believe in your faith. Just to say the words does not really mean that much, but you've got to believe in these things.
Yep. And the last point we want to make is definitely tell the spirit they're not allowed to come home with you. They're not allowed to take over your body. They're not allowed to attach to you, that they do not have power over you. That's something you want to tell them to make it known that, that's something that they are not going to do. We've had spirits follow us home and attach to different objects as well, in which you don't know about it at first until havoc has been wreaked. So.
Right. And a priest is your best person for an arsenal. Preferably, I've heard it said that a Byzantine priest is a very good exorcist type of priest.
You just read my mind what I was going to say. So
we do that quite often.
Yep.
And so it's very, very important that you have other resources, demonologists or whoever you can get to give you advice if you get into trouble, and to detach these attachments if one of your team members, such as a medium or sensitive things, they pick up and they can sense that you have an attachment, it's best to be able to get to your resources and have that attachment released ASAP, because the longer it's on you, the more it's going to come into your dreams, haunt you, and its ultimate thing to do, like I've said before, is that it wants to take you over, wants to harm you. They can kill any of your body parts on the inside. They can do mental drainage. They can go into your dreams and give you nightmares. And all along, they're taking all of your energy. And when it gets to a certain point, they can step in, take over, steal your soul, and they will be in your body, and you will be down where you don't want to be.
They can end marriages. They can end your life. It's very important to, if you have an attachment, find somebody who can get rid of it.
Ghost investigating. Some people's
messing around out there.
Ghost investigators. Some say it's ghost hunters. It's not a play game, guys. And do not play with spirit boards or talking boards, Ouija boards, or anything like that, because you can definitely get what you're not looking for. You're opening that door, that portal. Things are going to come through. Maybe you're asking for a certain person to come in.
Yep.
And make peace with them, something you may have wanted to tell them before they passed away and you did not get a chance to. So therefore, if you open it, things are going to come in that you didn't count on, and also it has to be closed properly, or that demon and things that came into your realm is going to stay there and it's stuck. And that's not good at all. Believe me, it's not good.
The only time you want to mess with one is if you're experienced and you want to use it for only certain purposes. It's not a game, guys. You really don't want to play with it. You can see videos of people having attachments and attacks on camera. They're all over YouTube. You can find them. But you definitely don't want to use that as, oh, I'm gonna play with the game. Oh, let's see if I can contact my dead grandma Susie. You don't want to do that, because you're opening a doorway, and if you burn it, that's even worse. You're closing the portal to never be able to get back.
And also the spirit that comes through that you're asking for,
maybe
since
disguised.
they've been away, they're completely different. A lot of times they'll come back and be totally wicked at times. So don't do that. Don't ask for spirits to come through, because you're asking for trouble and you may not be able to get rid of it.
Yep. I'm going to pause this for just a second, guys. Sorry about that, guys. We had to see what the dogs were doing. They're actually in here, so if you hear some panting, that's from them. If you have any questions, like we said, come on, bud, get down. If you have any questions, like we said, go ahead and leave them below. We'll try and answer them as best as we can. But go ahead and leave your questions down below, and we'll get to those. But have a great evening, and no, these are our tips. Thank you. Yes, thank you for watching, and these are our tips for when you do paranormal ghost hunting. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so very much.
We'll also soon be releasing the don'ts that you don't want to do while paranormal investigation. So thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great evening.
Great evening.
Right. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.